Hi, this is Jaya. In this video, we shall see the summary of Ithaca, a poem by Constantine Petrou Cavafy. The poem is translated by Edmund Keeley and Philip Sherrard, and Constantine P. Cavafy is a renowned Greek poet. He has published 154 poems. He was born in Alexandria in Egypt to Greek parents. Cavafy wrote Ithaca inspired by the Homeric return of Odysseus to his homeland, and this story is depicted in Odyssey. And the poem's theme is the enjoyment of the journey of life which each human beings experience, and in that course, the maturity which they receive as their journey continues. And Ithaca is the home of one of the most charismatic characters in the epic, that is Ulysses. And after the Trojan War, Ulysses is cursed to be lost and unable to return home. He spends 10 years on the island of Calypso, and at the end of 10 years, the gods take pity on him and they allow him to go to his home. And his journey home is not a very smooth one. He is faced with lots of encounters with monsters at sea and on land, and even he faces rough seas. He and his crew members face many dangers and adventures, and they return home after a 10-year voyage. That is, for 10 years they fought in the Trojan War, and for 10 years they took to return to their hometown. And the Ithaca that Odysseus returns to is in trouble when he comes there, because they are suitors demanding his wife Penelope to marry one of them. And his son Telemachus also is not sure whether his father will return or not. Moreover, his land has become very poor because all the wealth is spent in catering to the needs of the suitors who come to marry Penelope. Now Odysseus returns in triumph, chases all the suitors, and takes control of his kingdom. And this poem is based on the Odyssey. The title of the poem refers to an island nation in the Greek archipelago. In the epics Iliad and the Odyssey, it is the home and kingdom of Ulysses. He is known for his resourcefulness and sharp wit, along with his prowess in the battlefield. He is a great warrior. In the Iliad, it is he who plants the fatal Trojan horse that results in the defeat of Troy. And the patron god of Troy, that is Poseidon, gets angry on Ulysses' trick, and he curses him that he will never be able to return home. And because of this, while all the warriors and kings return to Greece, Ulysses and his crew are lost and find themselves on the island of Calypso, and they also forget all the thoughts of their home. And after 10 years of exile, Athena begs Poseidon to lift the curse, and so Ulysses and his crew are reminded of their homes. They build a ship and set sail for home. The journey is long and arduous. One way, Ulysses loses many of his crew to sea and land monsters. It takes him 10 years of wandering to return home. His return home is triumphant, and at the end of the epic, he looks forward to growing old with his wife and his children. The journey in the poem refers to this wandering of Odysseus and his crew. Ulysses' journey and his destination Ithaca are metaphors in the poem. Ithaca in this poem comes to represent death. So every moment in our life, we should be learning something about oneself and the world around. And in the poem, the poet has mentioned Lastrygonians and the Cyclops angry Poseidon. This refers to monsters and the god of sea who are angry with Ulysses. They are metaphors for any negative emotion that human beings experience, like jealousy, hatred, fear, uncertainty, doubt, depression, revenge, darkness. All these emotions affect the outlook of the world and people around us. For this, the poet offers how to deal with these emotions and to keep the mind engaged in doing and thinking good for others and developing empathy for all human beings. He says this is the only way we can defeat all these negative thoughts, and these will lead to beneficial actions which keep the spirit and body happy, because they will produce happiness hormones in us. And we should also accumulate as many sensual experiences as possible. In the life which we live in, we should accumulate as many sensual experiences as possible. And the ability to see and feel wonder and gratitude for everything around us actually enriches our mind and keeps us young at heart. We should immerse ourselves in the sights, sounds, and smells that surround us, and all this will make us feel alive and part of the throbbing, teeming flow of life. All these experiences expand our horizons and allow our minds to grow. One should educate ourselves, that is, it can be a man or a woman, by visiting places rich in culture, history, and learning. For example, the poet gives the example of Egypt, and he says Egypt is a city steeped in stores of knowledge from the learned. Ithaca, that is death, is the destination of our lives, but one must not rush towards death. But we should try to lengthen our life's journey by enriching it with experiences, adventures, and learning. When one nears dies, that is, as we are going closer to death, we should be old and wise to appreciate the restfulness of death after a life of hectic activity and restless movement. That is, throughout our life, we should do lots of activities and we should learn a lot. That we should be happy that death is coming to us so that we can have some rest. And death is the impetus that moves man to action. Death is opposite of life. It is a state of inactivity. There is no sensual experience. It is actually nothing. That is, that nothingness only is death. Hence, the poet emphasizes on a meaningful, vibrant life, because after death there is nothing. So, when you're living itself, you should live a very meaningful life, and death is not empty. But that when you live a very vibrant life, then death will be full of wisdom and knowledge of life, and death becomes the beginning of another journey towards life. Hence, the word he uses, ITHACABY. And life and death are never-ending cycle, and one should live one's life preparing to meet death with dignity, familiarity, and acceptance, like how you are ready to meet an old friend or like returning to your home. The myth of Ulysses' journey is a metaphor for the journey of life. Life becomes a voyage full of adventure, uncertainty, hope, instruction, and joy, and each human being is a sailor who learns the ropes of living as he sails towards his destination. Every port of call is a goal reached, a lesson learned, or a new sensual experience. Every monster encountered and defeated is a personal growth towards becoming a complete human being. One nears a destination rich in knowledge, wise, and willing to give up the restless wandering for peaceful sleep. That is death. However, death or the destination is not an end in itself. Just as Ulysses remembered his home after 10 years of forgetfulness, so does the human soul reawaken to a new beginning after death. That is, he is telling that definitely there will be a birth after death. Now let's read the poem. When you set out for Ithaca, ask that your way be long, full of adventure, full of instruction. The Laestrygonians and the Cyclops, angry Poseidon, do not fear them. Such as these you will never find as long as your thought is lofty, as long as a rare emotion touch your spirit and your body. The Laestrygonians and the Cyclops, angry Poseidon, you will not meet them unless you carry them in your soul, unless your soul raise them up before you. That is, he says all these negative emotions is something with you only if you carry them with you. If you do not carry them with you, then they are not with you, they will not affect you. Ask that your way be long, at many a summer dawn to enter, with what gratitude, what joy, ports seen for the first time, to stop at Phoenician trading centers, and to buy good merchandise, mother of pearl and coral, amber and ebony, and sensuous perfumes of every kind, sensuous perfumes as lavishly as you can, to visit many Egyptian cities, to gather stores of knowledge from the learned. So he says, in your life, you try to gather as much experience as you want. Get all the senses happy. Gather all the knowledge. And here he mentions Egypt because he says Egypt is a store of knowledge from the learned people. Have Ithaca always in your mind. Remember, death is inevitable. Your arrival there is what you are destined for. Definitely, if you are born, you are going to die. But don't in the least hurry the journey. But because you know death is the inevitable and you are going to face one day, don't try to reach death very fast. Better it lasts for years. Try to prolong your life so that when you reach the island, you are old, rich with all you have gained on the way, not expecting Ithaca to give you wealth. So, by the time death comes to you, that is when you meet death, try to be old. That is, spend a lot of years being alive and gaining a lot of rich knowledge so that when you reach death, you would have gained so much knowledge that you're not going to learn anything new from death. Ithaca gave you a splendid journey. Without her, you would not have set out. She hasn't anything else to give you. And if you find her poor, Ithaca hasn't deceived you. That is, after living a very vibrant life and filling yourself with so much of knowledge. And when you meet death, if you feel death has nothing to give you, then it doesn't mean death has cheated you. You have gained a lot of knowledge before you have died. So wise you have become of such experience that already you will have understood what these Ithacas mean. Now here he says Ithaca's meaning, life and death is a cycle. Death, life, death, life. This is the way every soul is going to live. And this is what he says in this poem. If you have anything more to add on to what I've said, please write it in the comment box. Like the video, share it with your friends, and if you have not subscribed my channel, please subscribe and support. Thank you.